Hi everyone! In this video we will go over how SAMMY can be used to implement the Secure Controls Framework. The Secure Control Framework, as you know, is a very comprehensive framework of security and privacy controls encompassing over 1,300 controls from over 100 different domains and standards basically. In SAMMY you can browse the entire list of controls. You can use the Secure Controls Framework as a framework within SAMMY, and then you will use the CMMI maturity scale to define how to what extent you implemented the different controls. So here, as you can see here on the left, there's basically all of the areas of the Secure Controls Framework, and you can provide basically responses for every single control to the extent that you implemented it. If you'd like some information on how the CMMI maturity is scored for the specific areas, you can go over this information, and you can then basically provide the extent to which you implemented it. So here, let's say this is well defined. I can then add some documentation, add some information here, add documents, PDFs, videos, whatever you might like, to link basically evidence that you actually implemented this control. So here, for example, I can write a remark and say this is the evidence. You can then also set an expiration. This basically forces this to be re-evaluated in the future. So you can, for example, say an expiration for 90 days if you're doing quarterly reviews of this, and it will force teams to re-evaluate this in the future. Once you've finalized the evaluation, you can move into a validation step where someone else maybe goes over the evidence provided and actually checks that that control has been put in place. This can be accepted or rejected. You can have validation remarks and recommendations, and if you accept it, you'll move on to the improvement stage. And in the improvement stage, you'll be able to either complete the string without improvements if you've already implemented the control to the extent that you wanted to, or you can also start an improvement process. So if I start an improvement process, I'll be asked to set a target date and a plan for improvement. So you can say here, this is the plan. Notice how everything is stored here in the timeline. And you can also assign the improvement plans, each of these stages, the evaluation, validation stage, to different people. For example, in this case, I can assign this to Mark, and then he can carry out the plan, set a target date for that plan, and then basically say to what level are we going to go now. So after the improvement plan is carried out, we want to get to a CMMI score of level of 5, and I can then finalize the improvement plan. Once this is done, we have an integration with Jira that will allow you to basically populate this improvement plan as a task or an epic in Jira. So you can assign it to a developer if you wish, or to a security person, depending on how your company is organized, let's say. Another possibility is you can also combine both steps of the validation here. So you can combine steps. So you can combine basically evaluation and validation steps into just one step. This is done if you're taking more of a role of an auditor, let's say, and you're just going over all the controls and seeing if they're being implemented and maybe providing some evidence to the extent that they're implemented or not, or looking at the evidence that's already available. In this case, you might want to combine both steps, and it's basically the same. So you can then provide some validation, recommendations, and you can submit this. Another interesting thing to note here is that you will then start to get a reporting dashboard. This is the dashboard where you can assign tasks. Well, let me go back here. This is a dashboard where you'll be able to assign tasks for all the different controls. You'll be able to see which ones are in evaluation tracks, validation track, validated track. You'll be able to assign tasks for all the controls to specific people. This way you can organize the workload of actually assessing your implementation of this framework across different people. You'll also be able to see which ones are invalidated, which ones are in the improvement track, and you'll also start to get reporting around this. So you'll see that this reporting dashboard starts to get populated as you start to implement more and more controls here. You'll be able to see the validated scores per domain and the historic growth over time. Now, this is similar to how it would look like for other frameworks, so I'm quickly going to switch to the OSSAM framework just to show you what a completed dashboard looks like. So if I switch here, you'll be able to see that you have the validated scores per business function. In this case, you'll be able to see validated scores per practice. This is specific to SAM, but basically you'll be able to see the validated score for every single control of the secure controls framework. You'll be able to see the historic growth over time of your overall maturity. And you'll be able to also look at some group reporting and compare basically different units. So you can create different scopes and you can compare different units to see the extent of which they implemented the secure controls framework. You'll also be able to access gap analysis, PDF reports, Word reports, a lot of documentation around the controls that you implemented in the secure controls framework. And another thing to note is that you can then also set the target posture. So you can evaluate where you're at and then evaluate where you'd like to be. So here you basically complete a whole assessment and say which controls you want to fully implement, which controls maybe you want to implement to a lesser extent, for example here. And you can also add some reference documentation, add some remarks in terms of how you're going to be carrying out this implementation, what's the plan to implement this control, and this can all be managed in a centralized platform that allows you to manage the whole secure controls framework. I hope that answers your questions about how you can implement the secure controls framework using SAMMY. You can also look at the blog post that was posted about the secure controls framework to get more information about this. This will be linked down below in the description, and feel free to also review the section and check out the tool, which will also be linked down below in the description. If you're interested in learning more about our tool and the different use cases for it and different frameworks that are available within the tool, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel and we'll keep you posted with more content. And yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.